What's up guys, Joseph Rakic here from josephrakicfitness.com, and today in this video I'm going to share with you my top 8 foods if your goal is to build muscle. Now these aren't all just protein foods. We've got some protein, some carbohydrate and some fat-based foods, and I'm going to go over my top 8 and tell you exactly why I've included each one of these specific foods in my top 8 foods. So stick around, it's going to be a great video and hopefully you'll learn something. Number 1 is whey protein. Obviously, you guys knew a protein source was going to be in my top 8 foods. Now, why am I saying whey protein is one of my top 8 foods? That is because whey protein has the highest BV, which means basically how easily this protein can be absorbed and used for building muscle, for muscle protein synthesis. Now, eggs have a score of 100. Whey protein has a score of 105. So it is the best scored protein when it comes to building muscle. That is why I think whey protein is super important, and that's why I include whey protein in my diet. Number 2 is salmon. Now, why do I have salmon in my top 8 muscle building foods? That is because obviously 1, salmon is a very, very good protein source, protein to build muscle. But the reason I actually have this in my top 8 is because it contains EFAs. Now, EFAs are your essential fatty acids, which means they are essential to the human body. Our body can't make it on its own, so we need to get it through foods or through supplementation. So, for those people that don't consume enough essential fatty acids in their diet, I do recommend to take fish oil or a krill oil supplement to get in your EFAs, your essential fatty acids, your omega-3s. But I find it to be super important to base your diet around foods that contain them, because I believe foods are always the best source more than supplements. So I eat my salmon pretty much every day, if not every second day, to get my essential fatty acids in. Okay, moving on to number 3. Here in New Zealand we call this kumara, but I know you guys in the US call it sweet potato. So sweet potato is one of my top 8 muscle building foods. Now, a sweet potato is not a protein, but it is still very good when it comes to building muscle. Not directly, but indirectly. Now, sweet potato is a super great source of carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates don't necessarily build muscle, but you need carbohydrates to give you the energy that you need to train hard in the gym. And the harder you train, the more muscle fibers you can rip. The more muscle fibers you rip, the more chance of muscle growth. So why is sweet potato such high in my top 8 foods when it comes to building muscle? That is because this carbohydrate source I find to be superior to most other carbohydrate sources. Now, I also eat rice, I also eat oats, almost on a daily basis. Still great sources of carbohydrates. Oats are a great source of carbs. However, the amount of carbs that I need, I have 500 grams per day minimum. It's hard to eat so much oats. You can only eat so much oats before it feels like your stomach's going to explode, because they do bloat you. Rice, it's another very good carbohydrate source. Great carbohydrate source, but it's not too nutrient dense with the vitamins and minerals. So sweet potato, the reason I've included sweet potato in my top 8 instead of rice and oats, that is because sweet potato contains so much more vitamins and minerals. It's got your vitamin A, it's got your vitamin C, got your vitamin K. Not to mention it's super high in potassium. Potassium is very important when it comes to muscle fullness, helps with muscle protein synthesis, which is the building of new muscle, plus potassium is important when it comes to muscle contraction. So if you're training hard, if you're sweating a lot, you need more potassium in your diet. Sweet potato is a great way to get that in. These are still a great carbohydrate source, by the way. Okay, next on our list, we have avocados. Now, why are avocados in my diet? That is because avocados are a great source of fat. a great source of fat. Now, I eat peanut butter as well. I eat nuts, but I find avocados to be one of the best sources of fat. That is why I have them in my top 8. Now, fat is super important, guys. A lot of people don't think fat is important, and a lot of people are scared of fat and they shy away from it because they think fat makes you fat. When actually, fat does not make you fat. Excess calories make you fat, whether those calories come from fat, carbohydrates, or even protein. Yes, protein can be stored as fat. It'll get converted into glucose via gluconeogenesis, and then that glucose, that carbohydrate, can be converted into fat via de novo lipogenesis. So you can still get fat from eating too much protein if calories are in excess. Now, fat is super important for brain function, for hormone regulation, testosterone production, and testosterone is obviously such an important hormone when it comes to building muscle. That is why I have avocados in my diet, because not only is it a fat source, it's also a great source of dietary fiber, which helps you feeling fuller for longer, plus another great source of potassium. Next on the list, we have steak. So this is my next meal right here. I order this from a meal prep company here in New Zealand, and I get it ordered exactly to what my JRF diet is from my JRF meal plan. So right here, I've got 200 grams of steak and 200 grams of red skin potato for my next meal before I go to the gym. Now, the reason I have steak in my top 8 foods is because steak is such a great source of protein, but it is a superior source when it comes to other foods like chicken. Now, that's not to say I don't eat chicken, I do. For example, I got some chicken right here, which is going to be for dinner. So chicken is a great source of protein. I'm not going to lie, it's great. But I think steak is better. I look at everything as a good, a better, and a best. So if you're asking me this question, good, better, and best, yes, chicken's a good source of protein. Good source of protein. I think steak is better, and I think steak is the best. Now, why do I say that? Chicken's a great source of protein. Steak is a great source of protein. So they're equal in that scenario. But steak is better because it's filled with much more vitamins and minerals. It's got your creatine, it's got your iron, it's got your B vitamins, and these are so important when it comes to building muscle. So that is why a lot of my protein actually comes from steak. And that's why I have included steak in my top 8 muscle building foods instead of chicken. Now, I'm not saying chicken's bad, chicken's still good, I eat chicken. Just doesn't make its way into my top 8. All right. I think we're up to 6. Sixth on the list is Greek yogurt. Now, why do I have Greek yogurt in my top 8 muscle building foods? That is because I am looking for a source of, did you guess it? If you didn't, that is calcium. The reason I'm eating Greek yogurt is to get calcium, and calcium is super important when it comes to building muscle. A lot of people don't realize that. Calcium is needed for muscle contraction. My diet's not high in calcium. Honestly, I have to admit. There's some in salmon, but other than that, I don't get enough calcium in my diet. So that is why I make sure I have Greek yogurt at least 3 to 4 times per week, so I get that calcium intake in, because I know how important calcium is when it comes to building muscle. And I don't like drinking milk. I actually hate milk. So that is why I have Greek yogurt in my top 8 muscle building foods. Calcium's super important, guys. So make sure you do have a source of dairy in your diet. And if you're not getting enough calcium through whole foods, you can also supplement with calcium, which I do sometimes as well when I'm not eating much Greek yogurt. All right, on to number 7. Whole eggs. Not egg whites, whole eggs. Egg whites are a great source of protein. Whole eggs are better, because what you need to remember is most of the protein is actually in the egg yolk. A lot of people throw away the egg yolks because they think it's fat, it's high in calories, which yes, it does contain fat, and it does contain more calories, but the yolk, the yellow part of the egg, is where all the vitamins and minerals are. The vitamin A, the vitamin D, the vitamin K. Now, vitamin D is super important when it comes to building muscle. Eggs are one of the best sources of vitamin D. Now, you have to remember, an egg has everything it needs to create whatever comes out of this egg. These are chicken eggs, not a dinosaur or anything. But an egg contains everything it needs to create whatever comes out of this egg. So if it creates everything that comes out of this egg, it's obviously going to be a good thing to consume when you're trying to put on muscle to your frame. Eggs are one of the best sources of protein. Like I said, it's got a BV score of 100. Good source of fat, good source of cholesterol, and dietary cholesterol does not raise your body cholesterol or the cholesterol in your blood. Dietary cholesterol raises your testosterone. Dietary cholesterol is super important for building muscle. That's why eggs are in my top 8. And that is number 7. So the 8th, the final, is kiwi fruit. Any fruit for that matter, but I'm a personal favorite of kiwi fruit. And the reason I have included kiwi fruit in my top 8 muscle building foods instead of any other fruit is because they are super high in vitamins and minerals, especially vitamin C. More vitamin C in a kiwi fruit than an orange. So vitamin C is super important when it comes to building muscle. It's a powerful antioxidant, good for recovery, good for muscle soreness, and I think it is one of the best vitamins when it comes to building muscle. Vitamin C does also increase your testosterone, and kiwi fruits are very, very high in potassium. If I can remember correctly, there's about 250 milligrams of potassium in a single kiwi fruit. I eat 2 to 4 kiwi fruits per day because I'm trying to chase that potassium. I'm trying to consume that potassium because the more potassium I get, the more muscle fullness I have. The better muscle protein synthesis I have, the better workouts in the gym I can get. Potassium is a super important electrolyte, guys. So always try and base your diet around foods high in potassium. Another great source of potassium right here. But kiwi fruit is definitely one of the best, and that is why I have kiwi fruit in my top 8 muscle building foods. Now, as you guys know, kiwi fruit doesn't contain protein, so it's not going to directly build muscle, but I consume kiwi fruit for the reasons I just listed, and that is why it has made it into my top 8 muscle building foods. So hopefully you guys can incorporate some of these foods into your diet, and hopefully it'll help you reach your muscle building goals. Now, what you need to remember is at the end of the day, the most important thing is meeting your calorie requirements and your protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Now, whatever your protein, carbohydrate, and fat targets are for the day, you can technically consume any foods to meet these numbers. These are my top 8. Let me know what your top 8 muscle building foods are in the comments down below. I always read the comments. I reply to as many people as I can, so make sure you tell me your personal top 8 muscle building foods. Anyway, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. More videos like this on my YouTube channel, so make sure you search for the rest of my videos. And if you do need a custom meal plan and workout program designed for you and your goals, click the link in my description down below. I can create a meal plan specifically for you based around how much calories you need, the perfect amount of protein, carbohydrates, and fats, so you can reach your goals. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
I heard you wanna be a famous celebrity. I think I might have the perfect recipe. How I'm feeling on you mentally and physically. All you really gotta do is stand next to me, and I can put you on